Get ready for a powerhouse of inspiration. Principal Baruti Kafele. A highly regarded educator and a transformational leader, Principal Kafele has spent over 20 years in New Jersey's urban schools, making a lasting impact as both a master teacher and a turnaround principal. Under his leadership, the mighty Newark Tech transformed from a low-performing school to one of America's best, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report 3 times. A recipient of the prestigious Milken Educator Award, Principal Kafele is one of the most sought-after voices in school leadership and equity. He's delivered over 3,000 keynotes, workshops, and seminars across the nation, authored 13 books, including 7 ASCD bestsellers, and continues to empower leaders through his live-streamed AP and New Principals Academy. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Principal Baruti Kafele.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 278. And as I always say, consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in here this morning. We got right at the top, Yolanda McKinney down there in Texas. We got AP Patrick Lawrence in Connecticut. Dr. Rachel Edoweckett is in Maryland. She's here. She was my guest last week. If you missed that one, make sure you go back to YouTube and check it out. We got, it just made a huge jump. We got Coach AB33, Dallas, Texas. Constance Sherrod is in the building in Pearl, Mississippi. Michael Benton is in Cincinnati, Ohio. Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. Grace Castaneda is in Kyle, Texas. She's back home. We got Dr. Rella Hicks in Augusta, Georgia. Dr. Sonia Matthew is in the building. We got Leslie Akintunde, Sterling, Virginia. Takesha High is in Virginia. Robin Snowden, where we at? San Lorenzo, you moving around. I see you, Robin. California, we got Shanae Joy Moore in Charlotte, North Carolina. Peter Finch is in Washington State. We got, where we at? Yakima, Washington State. Lysandra Brackens is in North Carolina. We got Robin Snowden, as I said. We got Ray Lenz. Ray Lenz is in Dyer, Indiana. Where we at? Ronald Pugh is in Cedar Hill, Texas. Fatima Nelson is in Pennsylvania. LaKenya Francis, good morning to you. Nolene Martin, North Texas. Stacy Joy, LA, that's in Los Angeles. Alicia Scott, Olive Branch, Mississippi. Nadira Coley is checking in from Newark, Brick City, right here in New Jersey. We got Vanessa Zeskind is in Connecticut. Marsha Poe way out there in San Diego. I appreciate you. Enjoy. Stacy Joy and Jasmine Harris always checking in from the West Coast. And the folks that check in from Alaska as well, right? Lauren Kaufman is in Long Island, New York City. Principal Otis Kitchen II is in the building. Fatima Nelson, I might have said that already, but I say it again. There's retired Principal Dot McKeefer Jeter checking in from Calumet City, Illinois. Where we at? John Herricks, Denton, Texas. Christopher Kamizi, that's my man. I see you, Christopher. Good to see you. I think he's in Jersey. I think. We got Melissa Jones Chuno. That's Dr. Melissa Jones Chuno in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Where we at? I'm getting ready to shut it down, y'all, so we can get started. We got the big time guest in the building. We got Miss Best is here. Stacey Ann Barrett, New Orleans, Louisiana. Where we at? Sean Hurt, turnaround principal, Detroit, Michigan. Speaking of Sean Hurt, if you missed them this morning, 10 o'clock, we the Fantastic Four on Super Saturday. Make sure that you go back and check out Sean. 10 o'clock, these are all Eastern times, Facebook Live. I'm not giving all the platforms, just Facebook Live. And then followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30, followed by yours truly at 10:55. And then going over to Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern, Josh Tovar, Dr. Madi Moreno. That's PGP Podcast. 5 o'clock Eastern time. Make sure you check us out. I'm getting ready to shut it down. There's Dr. Sheikah Houston. There's Tony McClenny. Good to see you out in Battle Creek, Michigan. And where we at? Yeah, Peter, I'm wearing the Kansas City Monarchs t-shirt with the hat. I'm Satchel Paige this morning, right? And then I'm gonna close it out with Kimberly Wilson Daniel down there in Atlanta. GA, good to see you. Good to see you. I need to say Dr. Joe Griffin, though. He here as well. And Edwin Garcia is here in Jersey. I'm gonna end with Edwin Garcia and Dr. Marcus Jackson. I ain't gonna keep looking at no more names. I don't see y'all. I see you, but I don't see you. Roz Gaskin, I see you. All right, hey, y'all, formally now, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 278 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Hey, y'all, I'm trying to find the right question because I'm getting out of that. How y'all feeling, right? I'm getting out of that. Been doing it for years. But I do want to ask you this. What are you fired up about for the forthcoming week? Even those of you who are not starting back up next week, I know you got to be in that mindset. I'm sure that you're back in the building. You just may not have students in the building. But the question is, what's got you fired up about the prospects for next week, right? That's my question to you. What's got you fired up about next week? I had a cancellation for Monday, date conflict, so I'm good. I get an extra day home. But Tuesday, I'm fired up about returning to Rochester, New York, talking to leaders about maximizing your administrative leadership team. I am fired up about that. I'm not fired up about how I'm gonna get to Nova Scotia that night because I have to land in Maine at about 11:30 and I have to drive 6 hours and I won't get to Nova Scotia till around 6 a.m. and I speak at 8 and go to 12. So I'm not fired up about that part, but I am fired up about this group I'm going to be speaking to in Truro, Nova Scotia on what day is that? On Wednesday. And then I'm just going to go to the hotel and sleep for the rest of the day and night. That's how we going to do that. But I am fired up about seeing the folks in Truro, Nova Scotia for sure. So my question again to you all, what are you fired up about moving into next week, right? Put that in the chat for me, right? Put it in the chat. Let me know what you fired up about. I actually read these later on in the day or over the weekend, whatever it is. Oh, I got to shout out someone else I just saw. My wife is on a cruise, y'all. I'm home. I'm feeling, I'm living. Let me say this while I know she's on here because I haven't told her this. I don't know what it is to be a bachelor, right? We've been together since I was 23. But I'm living that bachelor life right now. My wife is on a cruise. I couldn't go because of my summer travel schedule. So I couldn't go. So the rest of the family is out there. One of my sons is here with me. But here's the thing. I'm in this house alone. I feel like a bachelor and I feel lonely. Like life ain't good right now. It's like she's hearing this. She's probably saying, "Oh," I'm like, listen, y'all, I ain't got no meals. I'm eating in restaurants like every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And some of you, I know somebody out there saying, well, why don't you cook? I can't cook. All I could do is cook toast, right? I can't cook. I don't know anything about that living, right? So I ain't got my wife just to be sitting next to me while we watch TV. I ain't got my wife to be cracking jokes on, right? Or vice versa. I ain't got nothing, man. This is the first time I smiled since she left. So my wife is on here now. Shout out to the queen of this lonely castle that I'm in right now, man. Oh my God. Hurry up home. I'm not used to this. It's not the same thing as when you on the road in the hotels because you working. That's what it is. But when you home and it's like the hotel, this ain't, I don't like this, y'all. I don't like this. I'm sleeping in this bed alone, man. It's like, I don't like this, man. Let me stop venting. I got a whole session I gotta do. But so it's good to be on here laughing and acting silly because my son, he sees me. I'm kind of moping, man. I'm kind of moping around, like not smiling. My shoulders are down, right? So so we gonna get it right, man. We gonna get it right. Y'all pray for me, man. I'll be on the road most of the week though. So I see my daughter's on here too, Cabria. I guess she talking smack about me right now. But yeah, Cabria, shout out to her too, right? Here we go, y'all. Shout out to Speed School District 802 in Chicago Heights, Illinois. We had a great time there with the fam, with the entire district, but several fam members were in the audience. So if you're there, if you're on here, shout out to you, including the leader, right? So just shout out to everybody, this out there, right? But also shout out to Insight Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School in Pocono Manor, Pennsylvania. Had a chance to spend the morning with them the other day, and they're a cyber school. This is long before the pandemic and all these virtual platforms. They've been a cyber school since 2001, and they're doing big things, right? So shout out to them. Insight Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School in Pocono Manor, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the first timers. If this is in fact your first time, that means you've missed 277 sessions. Go to YouTube, AP, and New Principals Academy. Hit that subscribe button. That will make you one of our 24,400 subscribers. Yeah, you heard that right. 24,400 subscribers. You'll be one of them. So hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, AP and New Principals Academy. Hit the notification bell so that you're informed when we go live, which is every Saturday at 10:55, right? And then binge watch the 277 that you missed. I promise you, you're going to see some great stuff on there. There's not one video that's a bad video, right? The quality might be bad the first few weeks because all I had was a phone. And what I know about going virtual, that was May 2020. What did we know about going virtual back in those days? Right, I had a phone sitting here, an iPad sitting here, and the computer sitting here, and I was like this, and it's grainy looking, but the sound is perfect. So just go back to week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. The video might not look the greatest, but the sound is high quality. We can't go to the monologue without this, y'all. What is my value? Instructionally. To the teachers I supervise. That's my newest joint, man. Y'all make sure you get your copy. A whole lot of school districts across America are using this with the entire leadership team. It's a blessing to walk into those rooms and you see this book sitting on every table, right? And signing all these books, man, just putting the autograph in them. So if you don't have it, right? If you don't have it, get yourself a copy. What is Sheikah saying to me? She said, back then, we didn't know. Now we hot. Yeah, you got that right. We didn't know what was going on back then. We just trying to figure it out, right? 2020. Get yourself a copy of this, y'all, if you don't have it. This is the most important book I've ever written. It's probably the most important book I will ever write, right? If I had it to do over again, that chapter called Maximizing the Administrative Leadership Team, I probably would have written it as a separate book. But it's in here now, so it is what it is, right? So get yourself a copy. Get yourself a copy. You go to Amazon, go to ascd.org, go anywhere books are sold, but get yourself a copy. Let's go. My monologue. Let me try to keep it brief, y'all. Y'all heard that key word? Let me try to keep it brief. My monologue this morning, the relationship between building administration and central office administration. Once again, the relationship between building level administration and central office administration. Let me start by being personal. When I was a baby in this business, when I was that rookie principal, the last persons I wanted to see were those central office folks popping into my building. Oh, I did not want to see them. I cringed just the thought that they may be headed over to the school because I didn't know better. I didn't know better. So now for the next year or two, it's like, oh God, what do they want? What do they want? But I grew, we all grow in everything we do. Well, I grew in this business. And as I grew in this business, I said, oh, I can't do this alone at the building level. Over at central office, there are these very bright and smart and intelligent and brilliant people that I am not tapping into. I need to tap into these folks. So folks in the curriculum department, language arts, mathematics, science, social studies, etc. I need to tap into them, right? Because when I tap into them, we create synergy. So, but see, let me remove myself from it now. It's not solely about me tapping into them, but it's about them tapping into us. So now it becomes this mutual tapping into one another where central office understands their role as it relates to my school, but I understand their role as it relates to my school. So now it's no longer me cringing at the thought of central office. It's me on the phone like, when are you coming by? Right? I want to have a real partnership, a real friendship, a real relationship with central office. But it's not just the curriculum department. It's all the departments. You think about student personnel services, for example. I have students who have some real challenges. Of course, I have folks in the building, counselors, social workers, psychologists, etc. But there's a whole central office over there. There's a whole department over there, right? Student personnel services. Are we, let me get the mirror up. Are we tapping into that department toward increasing the probability and ensuring that young people in my school, in your school, are receiving maximum services that should be coming their way, that they're entitled to, right? Is that happening? Well, we got to go back to that relationship between the school and central office. Let me go to another department. I'm not going to go through them all because that'll monopolize the time we have today, but I want to say this one, that business office. Ooh, that business office. You know, and I can say this now because I'm so many years removed from the principalship, 14 to be exact. Because of my relationship with that business office, there was certain money that was not a part of my budget, right? We all have a budget. We spend it down in most cases. That's it. You wait till next year to replenish it. But because of the relationship I had with central office, because of the relationship I built with the cabinet, right? Now there's certain things, our budget is not like I didn't plan correctly, but something has arisen, and I really want this for my school. But because of the relationship I have with central office, and in this case, that business department, all the way to the superintendent, I got that money coming my way. See, that synergy, that relationship, that bond, that bringing the two families together as one central office building. So that building administration, that central office administration, you got to work as a team. You got to work in tandem with one another. When they're two separate entities working apart from one another, two distinct separate entities working apart from one another, then let me tell you who loses. The school loses. The teachers lose. The students lose. The parents lose. The community loses. You, the leadership, and your team lose. Everyone loses when that relationship between the building and central office is non-existent. It must exist. It must be solid. And when it is, everybody wins. If you find that, oh man, I have an adversarial relationship with this person, that person, this person. Listen, somebody, as I get a little closer to the camera, these are not your personal friends, right? It's not about that. These are people who are in the business of education with you. So that pride you may have that prevents you, that precludes you from reaching out and forging that relationship at whatever that department is in central office, swallow that pride. This is not your personal friend. This is a business, the business of education. Swallow that pride and forge that relationship. If you need to read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, written in 1936, read the book, right? But you got to make sure that you got that relationship. One of our guests today, Sean Gaillard, he's a Beatles fanatic, and my Beatles song of all the songs written is Come Together. I ought to play it right now, right? Come together. We got to come together, right? We got to come together. That's what it's all about. So enough said there on the monologue. I got 3 big time guests. They not only school leaders, they speakers. No telling how long we're gonna be on here. So let me get them on up here now. Let me get them on up, and I'll change that background in a second. Let me change that background. There we go. Boom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How you feeling?
Fired up. Let's go.
Man, you set the bar high for us. You set the tone for today's conversation.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, listen, man. I'm on. Ever since we put this together, I've been on fire. You know. So, hey, folks. Before I read their bios, hit that share button, hit that retweet button, repost, tag somebody, text somebody, call somebody, let them know we are here, we are live, and we getting ready to bring this fire to you. So we got Dr. Darrin Peppard. Is a leadership coach, author, keynote speaker, and former award-winning principal dedicated to helping school and district leaders gain clarity and build exceptional cultures and lead with intention. I'm going to read fast, y'all, because I got 3 of them. With nearly 30 years in education and a proven record of transforming school systems, Darrin now works with leaders across the country to move from overwhelmed and reactive to focused and purpose-driven. Darrin is the best-selling author of Road to Awesome, The Journey of a Leader, and co-author of Culture First Classrooms, subtitled Leadership, Relationships, and Practices That Transform Schools. He's also the creator of the Principal Academy and the host of the widely followed Leaning into Leadership podcast, where he shares powerful stories and strategies that help leaders prioritize what truly matters. Whether he's guiding leadership teams through strategic visioning, coaching individuals to manage their time and priorities, or inspiring large audiences with humor and heart, Darrin brings real-world experience and an unwavering passion for the work of leadership. His mission is simple: to help leaders lead better so schools can thrive. Good stuff. Charles Williams. For 20 years, Charles Williams has stood at the intersection of education and leadership, serving as a classroom teacher, building leader, coach, and consultant. As a current school administrator and founder of CW Consulting, Charles focuses on helping leaders across the country implement sustainable practices that prioritize clarity, build capacity, and center care without burning out. His work spans urban school districts, nonprofit organizations, and national conferences, where he is frequently invited to deliver powerful keynotes and hands-on workshops. With a reputation for saying what others won't and doing what others don't, Charles is a trusted partner for those ready to transform leadership from the inside out. Good stuff. Good stuff. We got one more. Man, Sean, I got that. I got the wrong way in my head. You said Gaillard, right?
Yeah, you got it, Gaillard. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Sean Gaillard is an award-winning school leader, author, blogger, podcaster dedicated to building cultures of possibility for all students. He currently serves as principal of Charles England Elementary School in Lexington, North Carolina, and has led schools in every level of K-12 since 2009. A champion of Title I and turnaround schools, Sean is committed to fostering environments where creativity, collaboration, and high expectations thrive. Sean is the author of The Pepper Effect, subtitled Tap into the Magic of Creativity, Collaboration, and Innovation, and is currently at work on his forthcoming book, Leadership Riffs, subtitles Harmonizing Inspiration, Innovation, and Impact, both published by Dave Burgess Consulting Incorporated. His blog and podcast, The Principal Liner Notes, celebrate the intersection of leadership, learning, and music, inspiring educators worldwide to lead with purpose and authenticity. In 2014, Sean founded #Celebrate Monday movement, a culture-changing initiative that has spread across schools nationally, encouraging educators to start the week with positivity and connection. His leadership and innovation have earned him national and regional recognition, including being named ISTE ASCD 20 to Watch Award winner. Let me say that once again. Named an ISTE ASCD 20 to Watch Award winner 2025, the 2019 Wells Fargo Piedmont Triad Regional Principal of the Year, and a 2019 finalist for North Carolina Principal of the Year. Sean holds a Bachelor of Arts in English from the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C., a Master of Arts in Teaching and Secondary English from Trinity University in Washington, D.C., and a Master of School Administration from North Carolina A&T, Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. Through his writing, speaking, and school leadership, he continues to champion creativity, equity, student empowerment as essential elements of school culture. Strong stuff. Good stuff. Hey, fam out there, we ready to rock. But I got to tell you one more time, hit that share button, hit that retweet button, hit that repost button, hit that text somebody, call somebody. And by the way, hit that like button. Even if you dislike it, like it anyway. That's how we activate them algorithms. So hit that like button. Let them know we are here. Hey, gentlemen, I didn't tell you off camera deliberately, but I got these 4 preliminary questions that I just want to throw at you without assigning a name to them. Just whoever wants to jump on in here. If all 3 of you want to jump on in here. First one, you made the decision to become a principal because ... Oh, I stumped them on that one.
Yeah.
You made the decision to become a principal because... Floor is yours.
I would say I heard
the
call to serve. I heard the call to make a difference. I heard the call to take things that I was doing in the classroom to the next level.
I hear you. Now I gotta ask you, where'd the call come from?
Call came from 2 places. Call came from the man upstairs. I would say that, and the call also came from within. In terms of how can I make a difference? How can I help others? How can I be a person for others in a larger framework? Plus, I like a good challenge. I'm a Red Sox fan, and I'd probably some Yankees fans out there. I know Lauren Kaufman, who is in the audience there. She's a diehard Yankees fan, and Red Sox fans. We're tough. We're resilient. And then also probably the third part of that call came from my parents, who shaped me and dared me to be a person of substance and greatness, but most importantly, a person for others.
Good stuff. And before Dr. Peppard goes, I went to the Yankee Red Sox game on Thursday, and I left after the 7th inning because there was no way the Yankees were going to win that game. So I jumped back on the subway and headed on back home. Right. So go ahead, Doc.
So, man, I don't want to follow Sean on this one, man. That was a really good answer, Sean. I like that a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, Darrin. I appreciate you.
I think certainly, there was that tap on that shoulder, that call that came from both within my building. So I was an assistant principal in my building where I became building principal, and at the time, I was in charge of all curriculum, instruction, and special programs. So I was already the instructional leader of my school. And so I think as much as I respect and truly appreciate the principal who was there before me, I felt like I had the opportunity and I wanted to transform what the principal role was, because my predecessor was much more a manager, much more just delegated everything away. And that's not how I felt leading, in my case, a medium-sized high school, 1,400 kids, 150 staff members. I felt like I needed to be that active leader in that role. And I think that was a big part of why I wanted to make that jump from the AP role into the principal role. And let's be honest, I mean, and a lot of people won't say it, but there's some truth to what I'm going to say. There's always a little bit of ego involved too, right? There's always a little bit of, I want to prove to myself that I can do this. I want to prove to others that I can do this. So that wasn't the big driver, but anybody who says that's not there, just not being very realistic.
Yeah, the language that I would use, I'm a Parliament Funkadelic fan. Sean, you know them, right?
Yeah, let's get on the mothership. Let's do it. P-Funk.
Right. P-Funk. And see, when we talk about, using some of their language, when you fake the funk, your nose will grow, right? That's right. The Pinocchio theory. You a liar. Everybody know you a liar because your nose growing because you faking the funk. So I'm with you, Dr. Peppard. It's like, yeah, the ego is there. I walked in that school every day with my chest way out, right? Like, it's not about me, but I do know I'm in that position, right? So I'm not gonna dismiss that nor ignore it, that I am the leader of the school, because all eyes are on me anyway in that capacity. So it's there, but I'm just not gonna let it get out of control, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Keep it in check. Keep it in check.
That's like, keep it in check. Charles, anything on that? Don't
feel
obligated, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I oftentimes say the same thing that Sean says now, but the reality is when I became principal, I had no intention of becoming principal. The problem was that I was an AP for 1 year. I had only served for 1 year when the principal role opened up. And like Robin said in the comments here, it's a call to serve and not to be served. The problem was that the person running for principal didn't want to serve. They wanted to be served. And I was like, I cannot stand back and allow that thing to happen. I have to challenge. Even if I don't think I'm going to end up in the position, I have to throw my hat in the ring. I have to do something, because I could not live with myself serving as the AP knowing that I just allowed that thing to happen. And lo and behold, I ended up becoming principal with 1 year of AP under my belt. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now I'm here. Now I got to do the thing. But my job, the reason was to protect my school, to protect my people, because I couldn't let someone like that lead the school.
Yeah, I love it. And I certainly understand it. I can relate to it. Yep. Let me go to this second one. Anybody? Your staff benefit from your presence because...
And that's an easy one. I mean, we got a whole book right up here. Darrin knows what I'm talking about, the hallway leadership, right? Like this idea of like, they know you are there. They don't have to come looking for you. There's that confidence of just knowing. And I used to talk about just kind of our mojo, right? I used to walk around the school and I'd spread my mojo around, just because it's like you are setting the tone for the building. And the kids know you're there. The teachers know that you're there. The staff knows you're there. You're just letting them know like, hey, we are all here. I've got you. Let's do this thing. And I think it's a great way to start off the day. You're just setting that tone.
Setting the tone. Anybody else want to jump in? Your staff benefit from your presence because...
I'll jump in on that one. I'd love to just echo everything Charles just said, but I'll add some additional value to the conversation by saying that my staff benefited from me being in my position, because I was going to approach every situation with curiosity rather than with judgment. So I was going to, when I was in classrooms, simply ask teachers, tell me why you're, making this decision, or tell me why you're, you've structured your room in the way you are, and that kind of thing. Not to say that they were doing something wrong, but simply to learn. So if I ask a lot of questions, I'm in a position to be that lead learner, but also I'm in a position to spark them and their thinking. And let's face it, teachers are really, really smart people. They know why they do the things they do. But when we ask those questions, we really pull out of them even more and really engage in deep pedagogical conversations. So mine simply because I'm going to be curious.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Go ahead, Sean, if you want.
Yeah, I would add a few nuggets there. A big ditto and amen to what Darrin and Charles said. And then to kind of take it to either a sports or music analogy. I mean, we talked about Isaac Hayes in our pre-conversation. Isaac Hayes, this great R&B soul singer, but he was also a producer.
Yeah.
And he produced from the studio floor. You know, he was playing piano and keyboards with the band, directing and orchestrating. Phil Jackson, you know, one of the great all-time great NBA coaches, you know, any coach for that matter. They don't coach from the parking lot or the locker room. They're there on the sidelines. And it's that same mindset for the principalship or any leadership. Visibility is trust. And I always find that the more visible that I am, that's an entry point. That moment is an entry point for building trust, for building thought partnership, for also understanding and learning together. It's that notion of kinship, partnership. I'm with you. We are together. How are our students doing? I always look for those moments where I can use those plural possessive pronouns. I think that's important. It's extremely important that the more visible we are, the more that you are building and harnessing and nurturing that trust.
Hey, fam out there, we are these are like some preliminary questions I threw together this morning at about 9 o'clock. We ain't even in it yet, but it's hot like that. Let's go. Hey, I got another one. Your students are at an advantage under your leadership because
So, you know, if I could jump in,
yeah,
our guy Hotep, I stole a phrase from him that it said is accountability is love. And my kids know that I am going to hold them accountable, not because I want to be hard on them, but because I love them. I'm going to set those bars high, those expectations high. And one of the things we said at the NCMLE, right, we've all been there, was that equity without high expectations is nothing more than enablement. And I set that bar high, and I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to support you. I'm going to make sure you get there, but I'm going to set that bar high because so many people pass our kids along on the west side of Chicago. That's what you're overlooked. You're passed along. You're just like, go ahead and do something. No. You are better than that. I'm going to hold you to that high standard. And so my kids know that. I'm going to hold you to that high standard. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable because I love you, and you are going to reach places that you never originally thought was possible because somebody just gave you some fluff, somebody gassed you up. No, I'm going to make sure that it actually happens.
I love it. You nailed it on that too. Anybody else don't feel obligated because I didn't assign any names to these. Just all right.
I'll jump in just a little bit on it and just build on what Charles said, and also plug that Charles wrote about accountability being love in my new book that Katie Kinder and I did. So good work right there, Charles. I'm gonna build on that and just simply say this, that I expected excellence from everyone, and people will rise or fall to the level of expectation you're willing to hold them to, and leading with love, leading with that expectation, but letting my students know, hey, you know what? I love you way too much to let you fall, to let you fail. And you know what? When whoever is in the captain's chair is leading with that mentality, man, all of a sudden the rest of the staff starts to lead with that mentality, and man, how can kids not benefit from that?
Yeah. Wow.
Man, those are some heavy trips there. And just to kind of PS what my bandmates have shared here is that that's the whole gig, y'all. Kids, students, that's at the center of all that we do. And in order to maintain that center, we have to have belief. And so I love how Charles and Darrin, you know, kind of harness that notion of accountability and visibility. And I mean, but you couple all of that is underscored in belief. And if we don't believe, they will not believe.
That's right. That's that word. That word belief is such a powerful word in our education space, but beyond the education space. Do you believe in your own ability to be successful? Or do I have people in my space who can help me to believe in myself?
Say that again. Yes.
Yeah. Because youngster could be living in circumstances where there's no real justification for believing in oneself, right? The challenges, the obstacles, the pressures, the demands of walking in his or her shoes are so overwhelming. But what if I've got a Darrin, a Sean, a Charles in my space who exhibit that love and that commitment to me toward helping me to discover that which is lying dormant within me, so that ultimately I can believe in my possibilities. That's, I mean, that word, we could do the whole session just on the word belief alone.
Yes.
Because it's such a powerful word. Good stuff. I got one more to throw at you. Your legacy will be what as a leader? Your legacy will be what as a leader?
I'll go first on this one. I think your legacy as a leader, no matter who you are, is in the leaders that you have followed you, the leaders that you grow, the leaders that you pour into, the leaders that you invest in. It's like, I mean, we'll go with a sports analogy. We hear about it all the time. The coaching tree, right? Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, they all come from the Bill Parcells coaching tree and that kind of thing. We have a moral obligation as leaders to grow more leaders. And so your legacy will be evident in the leaders that followed you.
Man, that's powerful stuff. I gotta
Mic
say
drop
this.
there.
Yeah. So before one of you jumps in, let me just say this. One of my buddies, one of my best buddies, his name is Dr. Vincent Stallings. I don't know if he's on right now because he's a fisherman, so he likes fishing on the weekends, but he may be on. But anyway, I read something today that his school was recognized as one of the top 150 schools in New Jersey, one of the top schools in America. But I was influential in him being hired as a teacher years ago. I was influential in him becoming an administrator because I'm the one that hired him as my assistant principal. So his formative years were with me. So when I saw that on Facebook this morning that he got that statewide and national recognition, I felt good. Right. It gave me a sense of pride in terms of legacy. That may have been what informed this question because I just wrote them. Right. But legacy, there's somebody I poured into as a baby administrator and now doing big things, on the national stage. I couldn't have said it better, Dr. Peppard. That's it. That legacy. Anybody want to jump in?
I would just say this because I know we're all speakers, but I hope, right, and these are the things that I'm hearing from my people now, that my legacy is that I walk my talk. We all have stages, we all have spaces where we share this information, but there are those of us out there who just do that, who just talk about it.
Yeah.
I want people to know, I want everyone to know that when I'm done with this work, that I walked my talk. It wasn't just about sitting in spaces like this and sharing great ideas. It sounded good on social media or the hashtag. Like, no, this is the work that I live and breathe every single day, and that impact's going to live well beyond me. That's my hope, that my walk is my talk.
Well, I'm gonna say this to you now, and y'all forgive me for jumping in on your floor. You just saying stuff that's moving me, man. like I'm gonna say this unapologetically, and I'm gonna shut up. The four of us have an advantage that others in this space don't have, and that advantage is that we did this work. Right. See, anybody can read about it and read the research and observe it and all that kind of stuff. But it's a different thing when you walked it and then you decided, I want to share my perspective on what this thing is that I walked. So therefore, now that leadership audience that's sitting there listening, they can lean in because they know you did this, as opposed to the one that's up there talking, but really doesn't know what this is. And if we gave you an opportunity to go in there and lead a school, you might not be able to do it because you don't know what this is yet, right? So, I say that without apology. I say it all the time. This is not the first time I've said this. I probably say it every day of my life, right? It's important that people, since you reference speakers, Charles, it's important that people who speak have lived what they speak, right? Which just provides substance to the message that you're delivering. Let me be quiet. Anybody else want to jump in on that legacy question?
Legacy is something that in principal school, and I know we're in the academy right now, but it is something in principal school that is not spoken enough of. They will not remember your data. They're not going to remember the banner that they put up or the big plaque you got. They're not going to remember the discipline referral cut or whatever it is. All of those kind of things that go, all those nuts and bolts things that go with the gig. And I'm not saying that I'm not dismissing those things either. But your legacy is is felt in the impact of how you connect with the lives that you are going to change. If you have the mindset that every moment for someone, including ourselves as leaders, is going to be life-changing or world-changing. If you have that kind of view, like, man, the student that I'm going to talk to who is in the basement of their hero's journey, the teacher who I am connecting with now is well on their way to being the teacher of the year or the keynote speaker at ISTE and ASCD. We have to have those mindsets. That's the legacy. And oftentimes we also have to have the humility that we may not get there. We may not see that. And as much as we can empower leaders and empower those moments, to me, that's the legacy beyond a banner or a data or, whatever it may be.
Love it. Let's get to the questions that I actually had for the session today. And then we'll get to those talking points right after we finish. Gentlemen, a lot of folks have started school already, but there's still a lot of folks who have not started, particularly where I am in the Northeast. That's not till after September. These folks don't want to hear nothing about the first day just yet, right? So here's my thing. I spend a lot of time, not only during the summer, but even during the regular school year, talking about what the first day should look like from the perspective of Principal Kafele, right? Because for me, I know the first day could make me or break me as the leader of that school. So there were certain things that I knew that I wanted to have in place as it related to my leadership, which I'm not going to get into here because this is your day. My question to you, Dr. Peppard, got that other pronunciation in my head. What are your thoughts? Okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts relative to those folks on the call right now, or who will see the video later, about what the first day, from the vantage point of the principal, should look like?
Yeah. So I love this question. And I would tell you, it's one of the things I think I miss most about being a principal is that first day, because you cannot replicate that energy on that first day.
No.
And I think the thing that I would say to maybe lead into my answer with this is your kids are never more ready to learn than they are on day one. And let's be honest, your teachers are never more ready to teach than they are on day one. So for me, that first day should not be wasted with rules and all of those types of things. I mean, yes, we need to start building culture from the very beginning, start building expectation from the very beginning. And I'm not saying that we need to, dive into the middle of the calculus book on day one, but I think it's a really important time to really build relationships, to let kids know, what to expect, and really just set the tone. I mean, I like everybody. Day one, I tried to get into every single classroom, and I just wanted to see energy. I wanted to see connection. I wanted to see that relationship stuff getting started from the beginning. So I can ramble on this forever. I won't. That's what I would say. Just, man, take advantage of the fact that your kids are never more ready to learn and your teachers are never more ready to teach.
Mm.
Do me a favor, Dr. Peppard, before I go to Charles on this first, and
Yeah.
then Sean. Talk directly, because I'm real particular about the folks at View, right? So I don't know if it's pronounced Gian or we'll say Gian. Talk to Gian real quick, not a long one, but just give her something. I'm assuming that's a young lady. Give her something for that first day.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I think on that first day, with your students, if maybe your first day with your staff is Monday, do an activity where there's something that people can learn about each other. Maybe it's one of the schools I spoke at to kick off the year here during the course of the month of August. They did a like me bingo card. I thought this was so much fun. Just some different things, that they put on the bingo card, like visited Vermont this summer, or loves to ski, or whatever, right? Let people have conversation, give them an opportunity to learn things about each other. Because if we're talking about your teachers, there's a lot of times, folks, I was in a hallway with a bunch of teachers during my 11 years as a classroom teacher, and I didn't always know a lot about them. Do something so people can learn some common ground that they have. That would be what I would suggest.
Love it, love it, love it. Charles, same question. Same exact question in terms of what that first day might look like for administration.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that Darrin was talking about, it absolutely sets the tone and the expectations for the year. And I've been in spaces where it looks like a lot of fun, right? There's DJs, there's hype, there's all this stuff happening, but there's also a lot of chaos and kids are not where they're supposed to be, right? And it sets a tone of, well, this is what school is like here. Like, no, that is not what school is like here. That is special days. Those are special occasions, right? So I remember one time I was in a space and they were like, what should day one look like? What do you mean, what should day one look like? Kids are in class, they're where they're building those relationships, they're doing these things. Do I believe in suspending curriculum for an entire week, 2 weeks? Absolutely not. Like you said, there's never a better time to kick things off. Kids are coming back ready. Teachers are coming back ready. Who am I as the building leader to pull kids out of classrooms when you as a teacher have prepared all summer for this moment? And now I've taken them out of your space. I've thrown off your schedule. That's how we're going to start off the year. Like, no, I need them with you. My wife just started with students not too long, and she's already fussing, right? Because I can imagine some of the administrators are like, I've got this great idea. We're going to do these fun things. And I even asked her when she was fussing to me about it, I said, who planned this? Was it admin sitting in an office somewhere because it looks great on paper? Did you all have a voice in this? Is it intentional? Is it impactful? Or is it just something to do because we're still trying to figure out schedules and put kids where they're supposed to be? Because that's a lot of time the reality. So as administrators, making sure that things are locked down, things are ready to go. There's always going to be some hiccups. There's always going to be some things to clean up. But that should not fall on the students and the teachers as you're trying to clean things up, to suspend everything as you're figuring that out. Because I think I'm just going to go back to what Darrin said. It sets the tone. It sets the culture for how we move throughout the rest of the year, because you can't start off like that and then try to reel it back in. Like, no, that's not who we really are.
Right.
Like you could sprinkle those things in a little bit later.
The toothpaste is out of the tube now. Can't put it back in there. Yeah. Sean, it's on you.
So I'm on day 10 here in North Carolina, and I will definitely echo the sentiments of all here about the first day. It's the table setting. It's the tone setting. But also I think for leaders and especially for those that are in the chat or are tuning in right now, think about your first day as literally that football kickoff, right? You don't go crawling up to the football. You go in at full force and you go in with energy, right? And everyone is or jump ball, right? At the beginning of a basketball game. You don't just kind of put a finger up. No, we are all in position. We all are empowered with the knowledge and the gifts. You as the coach are cheering everybody on and you are commanding and leading. I would also say two things to remember about your first day. It's a reset. It's a new beginning. But there may be some hiccups on that day, and that's okay. Don't go on social media and look at school X and go, wow, they had the perfect first day and I blew, because I've done that. I blew the whole cafeteria times and I'm a failure. Those things happen, right? So just know that the first day is that tone setter and that there will be mistakes because it's everybody's first day under your watch. You have 179 more days to go. But keep going forward, keep pushing, and then draw back and learn from that hiccup and pothole that is inevitable, because it is. You may have a perfect first day, and that's great. Day 20 may be the worst day ever. How do you respond to that? How do you pivot, and how do you pull your team together so that we can keep going forward for kids?
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I got so much I want to say to that as well, but I'm not. I'm going to go on to this next question. Hey, Charles, culture is major in our work, and I happen to know it's major in your work. And let me hold this book up right quick. Sustainable Leadership: Leading with Clarity, Capacity, and Care. There we go. You all can get a copy of this book right on Amazon. Charles Williams. It's not meant to be a super thick book or anything of that nature. It's a quick read, but it's something. It's a resource. It's not something to put on the shelf. Something to keep in your hand, close to the vest. But get yourself a copy. The other two, my other two guests have books, and I'll put them back on the screen in a little while. But my question right now, I want to start with Charles. Culture's major. You know it supersedes all things academic. Right. If the culture is not conducive to teachers being able to teach and students being able to learn, teaching is probably going to take a hit, and so is learning. So my question to you, in those schools, particularly those urban and rural schools, where disciplinary referrals is a major reality, right? According to Charles Williams, how do we shift away out of that culture of disciplinary referrals toward creating a culture conducive to high academic performance? I'm gonna give this question to all three of you, but I wanted to start off with Charles on this one. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I mean that's a heavy question, and I think one of the things is it's part of it is about expectations. I think part of it's about consistency, and one of the things that I oftentimes saw over these last couple of years is that we like to sometimes play school, right? We don't do school all the time. Sometimes we want to play school, and sometimes all of a sudden we want to jump in and hold a high expectation, right? We haven't held those high expectations all along. Kids have been kind of passed through it's that transactional learning environment. I'm doing a worksheet for some points for a grade. Now suddenly, right, maybe because I'm being observed or something's happened, now suddenly I want to set that bar high. Well, as a student, I can't just adjust like that. I don't know what to expect from you. So you know what? I'm gonna defend myself, right? Whether that's talking out, whether that's shutting down, whether that's walking out of the classroom, because now I feel unsafe. I feel uncomfortable in a space because I don't know what to expect in that area, right? And then we label that as defiance. We label that as being disrespectful. And those are some of the words that I hated the most as an administrator, when a teacher was like, well, they're being defiant. Like, well, what do you mean they're being defiant? Well, they're being disrespectful. They rolled their eyes at me. And I was like, well, did they do the thing? Well, yeah, but they were huffing and puffing. Like, we have to realize that when we set consistency in expectations, right? And so that was one of my frustrations in spaces of setting those high academic expectations and accountability measures consistently and holding students to them, not just picking and choosing when you're going to enforce them. Because then, yeah, like anybody, if you're in a space suddenly where the rules have shifted, the expectations have shifted, I got to step back and say, wait a minute, like I've got to reprogram, recalculate. And at the end of the day, what we have to remember is that these are young people. They are children. They're not little adults. They are children. And unlike most of us in this space who would today have trouble shifting, right, regulating ourselves to an unexpected shift, they're kids. They're going to struggle as well. And so we automatically start labeling some of these defensive mechanisms as misbehavior. And I saw one of the comments, and yes, you're going to have an issue. My wife was just sharing with me about a young man in one of her classrooms, right, that he was just saying crazy things. They watched this video. Well, I would do this to this kid. And she was like, man, we got to keep an eye on him. Something's not right. And I was like, I'm curious what's going on in that kid's home. Right. I'm curious what's going on with him. I said, a lot of times when kids are trying to exert power over others, it's because somebody's doing it to them. And so they're now replicating this, right? Getting into that space of trying to figure out what's going on instead of just labeling it as a discipline issue, because then that's all you become. You become reactive. Right. And as I said before, if we keep putting kids out, we talk about the achievement gap. Like, what do you think is going to happen when you keep putting kids out of schools, out of classrooms, out of buildings, and yet you expect that achievement gap to close? That's never going to happen, right? So there's linkage there, and I want to give a chance for everybody else, but there's connection there, and I think so often we do things because we are reacting, and especially we're replicating the same things that we saw, that we experienced, instead of, like I said, high accountability, high expectations, and that consistency across the board, right? Don't throw your kids off. Don't throw your people off.
Yeah. Good stuff. Sean, jump on in. Same question.
Yeah, that, man, Charles, that's deep, man. High expectations are important and necessary and essential to the gig. In order to sustain that, though, we as leaders, we have to be abundantly clear, abundantly consistent, but remember, these are children, these are kids, and the values that I may have had in the Gaillard household growing up in the 70s and the 80s are may be different, than others. So I can't project those values. I can't project that era on kids who may have something different. I can't judge. But in the schoolhouse, this is the expectation. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. This is what it sounds like. And we have to really coach teachers through that, because sometimes it gets personal, right?
Yeah.
And we have to be unreasonable in that coaching and in that support, but also in that listening and asking questions and getting to the root of, well, why is the child responding this way? What tool or resource can we figure out together to get you what you need, so that we can help all kids reach that expectation or reach that mountaintop.
Yeah. Dr. Peppard.
Man, this is absolutely fantastic stuff from Sean and from Charles. I'll say this. I worked in a school that at first had just an absolutely toxic culture, all about catching kids doing things wrong. And when we really think about and take that time, get up on the balcony and really evaluate what are we looking for, I think that makes a huge difference, because when you're looking for the things that people are doing wrong, you're going to find them. But when you lean into and really look for the positives, man, it's amazing what you're going to find. And that doesn't mean you're not going to still have issues, but just us simply shifting our focus from catching them doing it wrong to catching them doing it right. A lot of those attention getting behaviors happen because they want attention. And if the attention comes from doing the right things, a lot of people will start to shift in that direction. Now, are we going to have a kid or two that are going to be a challenge? Of course we are. And, I saw it in the comments. Lauren Kaufman said, about knowing a kid's story.
Yes.
Our big issue, our big thing was, like, the only club we had in the bag was punishment to gain compliance. Well, that doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't work. So the more we started to lean into recognizing, rewarding, and reinforcing the behaviors, the actions, the academics, the attendance that we wanted to see, man, we went from really struggling to really soaring very quickly. Because, and I mean, do we need to have rules? Yes, but rules without relationships lead to rebellion. And really leaning into that relationship piece, look for the positives that people are doing. To me, I think that's the little bit I think I can add to what these two awesome gentlemen have shared.
Love it. And let me welcome our guest from Nigeria. Appreciate you being here, Emmanuel, all the way. on the continent of Africa, tuning into the AP and New Principals Academy. Gentlemen, life is trendy, as you know. Education has its trends, but so does the totality of life. Right now, we are in a space where young people and adults are seeing opportunities to earn money that did not exist short times ago. In regard to this question, via social media, right? There are just a multiplicity of ways to make money, but then in the eyes of the youngster, education takes a hit. Why do I need this? Why do I need to study for this history exam, language arts, science, social studies, when I can make money via social media, right? Via whatever the entrepreneurial pursuit may be. So my question to you is, how do we go about convincing young people that, and this is again through the lens of leadership now, how do we convince young people that education, formal education, K-12 education, pre-K-12 education is still relevant to who and what they will become one day in life? I'm not talking post pre-K-12, but I am saying the pre-K-12. How do we convince young people that this is still relevant, that this still matters when they see with their own eyes? But there's so many opportunities out here that I, the youngster, don't believe that I need to be proficient in formal education. What are your thoughts? I'm starting off with where am I at? Starting off with Sean.
That's a great question. It's a question that I have wrestled with for many years as a principal at every level. I'm currently an elementary principal, but I've been a middle school principal, and I've been a high school principal. And I think back to the days, pre-21st century, right? When the buzzwords were all about 21st century skills, and all of those things have taken on different labels, from 21st century skills to future ready to portrait of a graduate, and all of those things, and all of those things are good beacons to look at. They are good things to kind of get up to speed on. But those are but you mentioned, Principal Kafele, the notion of relevance. And right now, if you were to ask any one of my students for the school where I serve, what do they want to be when they grow up? Or what do they want to do after they graduate from high school or college or what have you? I used to hear singer, dancer, NFL baller, NBA baller, whatever it may be. But now you hear YouTube influencer, Instagram influencer, and it's great to hear a first grader use the word influencer. That's a high level word that packs a whole lot of connotation and denotation. I think we as a schoolhouse and in education, we all have a moral imperative to be in tune with where our kids are going to end up at whatever finish line, or when they break that finish line, where they're going to go beyond. But we also have a moral imperative to create a visceral sense of relevance in the classroom, and helping them make those connections. But that also comes from leadership, and in building that culture of relevance, building and equipping teachers with the support and the guidance that is needed in order to do that. Because you can put up a picture of a Google, or a picture of AI, or whatever it may, but that still doesn't buy that. I think one way to do that, one approach, and again, there are many tools out there, from Beable to Project Lead the Way, but it's about that mindset, right? Connecting. I find that when connecting with community partners, folks in industry, and just asking the question as a principal, you don't need to have a big PD about it, but just calling up somebody and saying, hey, I'm principal of school X. What is it that you need from me? What is it that you need from the people that I serve, the students that we are teaching? What are those qualities that you are looking for? What are those skills in the community? What does that look like? And then bringing teachers on, externships or field trips to industry. I've done that before in different schools where, hey, look, they're not all sitting in rows. Hey, look, they're communicating and collaborating in a different way. How can we take that ethos and build it in the classroom? Again, not the silver bullet, and there's not a magic trick there because again, we're fighting a lot of external forces there. But I also think too, it also comes to in your schoolhouse, sure that there is a culture of belonging.
Yeah,
that's the other part of that too.
I love it. A culture of belonging. Good stuff, Dr. Peppard. Same question.
Yeah, this is an excellent question, and I love what Sean shared there, and kind of helped frame my thinking around this as well. And it takes me back to my time both as a principal and as a superintendent, and really working to build that relevance into the classroom. I was fortunate I got to be a part of and lead the development of 3 nationally recognized career academies at my high school. And some of the things that Sean talked about were so critical. It was having those business partners there. It was getting students into job shadowing opportunities, getting students into internships, both paid and unpaid. Because the thing is, a kid will hear us as educators share something, and maybe it doesn't sink in, but they hear somebody who's in a career that they think, man, I could do that, or I could see myself doing that, say something, and now, wow, that just hit home with that kid. I think there's a couple other pieces that I'll share. Number one, and Sean was kind of going here, so I'll go a little further. Really empower your teachers to be creative and find ways to give students relevant opportunities outside of the academies. I had an incredible English teacher who's now a theater teacher in a different building, Bradley W. Skinner, absolute rock star educator. I had him teaching speech. Not a lot of kids want to take speech, but he had his students using social media, reaching out to those influencers, people who were in those spaces, and then bringing them into class via Zoom for 45 minutes to do interviews and to learn from those people. And when you give your teachers those opportunities, man, it's amazing what they will do. They're creative, brilliant people. Give them the opportunity. Go show up. Give them some feedback. I think those things are just really super important. And then the last thing that I'll share on this is having conversations with kids. Man, I sat on the bench at the high school all the time, sitting and talking with my kids about things they were interested in. And man, is there somebody I know in my community or in just the greater space that I can connect this kid with so they can maybe learn just a little bit more about what they think they might want to do? I think those things are huge. To me, it's about rigor, relevance, and relationships. If you can pull those things together, man, you give kids the opportunity to see, where they can potentially go.
Love it. Charles, same question.
Man, I don't know how much more I could add to this, but what I will say is maybe shifting that perspective. The fact that we're having this conversation was happening by educators when we were in school. And I know we were all in school at different times, but when we were in school, this same conversation was happening.
Absolutely.
Right. And so instead of looking at kids and saying, how do I make you dial into the work we're doing? What if we start looking at ourselves and figuring out how are we modifying and how are we changing to make sure that it is relevant to our students in our spaces? Right. And that's exactly what Darrin and Sean were talking about, making it relevant. I remember being at my daughter's school and they had binders and that was their curriculum for the year. And I was like, well, how do you continuously use the same thing over and over and over again when you don't know who's about to walk inside your classroom? That is no longer relevant. right? But the things that we're talking about here, whether they're outside organizations, whether it's programs that you're bringing in, and making sure that it is relevant to their learning. Because I remember being in school and I was wondering the same thing. Why do I got to learn, right, these canon on texts? Why do I got to memorize these dates and stuff like that, especially in a day and age when all of that information is at a fingertip? I shouldn't even say fingertip. You just got to say it out loud. Hey, Siri, right? And you got your information, you got your answer. So why are we spending so much time on antiquated ways when the reality is, how can we make it more relevant? And I'm just going to take what they said, duplicate that, but change the question around to us, not our students. How can we make sure that our students are more dialed in? What can we do? What can we do as schools, as educators, as school leaders, to make sure that our spaces are relevant to our students' current and future needs?
Yeah, wow. You guys nailed it, man. That's a lot of good information. And it's something for the fam, the viewers, to be able to think about themselves. All of us have young people in our schools who are exposed to the exact same things, the exact same stimuli. So what is it about us, as you just said, Charles, it shifts to ensure, at least increase the probability that what we provide is still relevant to who they're going to evolve into. Dr. Peppard, according to your bio, with nearly 30 years in education and a proven record of transforming school systems, you now work with leaders across the country to move from, and here's what's key, overwhelmed and reactive to focused and purpose-driven. So as I said here in my notes, inquiring minds want to know, how do we help leaders to move from overwhelmed and reactive to focused and purpose-driven?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. And I will tell you, I'll open with this quote. Rory Vaden once said, "We are uniquely positioned to help the person we once were." I was that person. Year 1 and 2 as a building principal, I was in firefighter mode 100% of the time. And when that's all you do, when you put on the superhero cape every day and say, I'm going to be everything to everybody today, and I'm going to solve their problems, I'm going to answer their questions, and man, you set yourself up to be reactive. You allow those time bandits to just come and steal your time, and instead of doing the things that matter, you find yourself at the end of the day thinking, what did I even do today? Right? Like my focus was just not there. I was fortunate. I got to work with a leadership coach. It's why I do what I do. And my coach, the first day he showed up, I was running around putting out fires like a crazy man. And he was down doing walkthroughs in my classrooms. I'm like, why aren't you with me? And he said, no. Why aren't you with me?
Yeah.
Because the real work happens in the classroom. And so the core of your question was, how do we help leaders move from reactive, being the superhero all the time, to genuinely leading their school? I would tell you, number one, it's about knowing what you value and knowing what your priorities are. My first book, Road to Awesome, I talked about 6 things that I felt for myself were the most important in school leadership. If we can stay focused on those things, but then we got to put systems in place, because if we don't have systems in place where we're able to delegate things to people who can take things off our plate, where we are focused on the things only we can do as the building principal. There are things that as a building principal that only you can do, and there are things that you could do, but so could somebody else. And the more you can allow other people to do those things, and this isn't about dumping tasks, this is about empowering others to take those things on and make them their thing, being okay with letting them do their thing. And maybe they don't do it just the way you would, but that's okay. That allows you to go lean into the work that truly matters. Coaching your teachers, being with your students, really being that instructional leader. And I really feel like that's critical. Another one I'll give you real quick. One of the most important things you can do, lean into your admin assistant. The more you can give your admin assistant control, the ability to hold you to your priorities, those types of things. My admin assistant had full access to my email, full access to my calendar. She was the one who kept me on point. I love to talk about going and being on the balcony and checking in on my priorities. She would sometimes even put it on my calendar and say, get over on the balcony, Darrin, because you're not focused on your priorities. So have that person who can help hold you accountable. And honestly, I can riff on this for hours and hours and hours, but get clear about what matters to you. That's why I talk so much about clarity. We have to be clear about what matters to us, and then go be intentional to do the work specifically to those things that really matter.
Love it. Let me let the folks know this is the book, Culture First Classroom, subtitle Leadership, Relationships, and Practices That Transform Schools, co-written with Katie Kinder. You can go right to Amazon, folks, and get your book right now. And there's another one that Doc has.
That's the first one right there. Yeah.
Road to Awesome, right? So get them both.
Yeah.
Go right to Amazon and get your copy. These questions, I should have told you all. These are not for everybody. These are now specific to the individual. So Charles, let me go to you. According to your bio, you focus on helping leaders across the country implement sustainable practices that prioritize clarity, build capacity, and center care without burning out. My question to you from a leadership vantage point, what do you mean by prioritizing clarity? What does that mean and building capacity? What are you saying to us?
Yeah, so like Darrin, I was in that space, right? I didn't have guidance when I became a leader. I told you I was an AP for 1 year before I became a principal. So I was just doing things like I thought that I was supposed to be doing. And I was consistently exhausted, frustrated, burnt out, and I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. And it took a long time for me to figure out, like, man, I'm going around this process completely wrong. And as I started to figure it out now, right, my good friend Vernon Wright, I'm sure you guys know Vernon, right? He talks about the need for us to share with others, because what makes sense to us may be someone else's aha moment. And so that's why I put this new book into place, right? And so for me, clarity is simply about, we oftentimes, we love the badge of busyness, right? We love to say, like, somebody come, hey, are you busy? Yeah, I'm busy, right? We love to say I'm busy, because we think being busy means that we're being productive. But so oftentimes we confuse movement and momentum. Like, just because you're moving doesn't mean you're actually going anywhere. It doesn't mean that you're actually getting anything done. And so clarity helps with that, because we have so many decisions. I don't know, there's all kinds of research and statistics that talk about how many decisions that we make on a regular basis. But are we putting those decisions through a filter, right? Like the why test. Why are we doing this? Why am I saying yes to this? Is this aligned to what it is that I'm meaning to do in the direction that we're going, right? And so that's that clarity piece, because there's this idea that we just have to be so quick. And sometimes we'll just say yes to anything. I used to pride myself on that. I'll say yes to anything, because who knows? Well, the problem is now we're scattered everywhere. But what if we said, wait a second, that sounds good, but is it aligned to our focus? Is it aligned to our mission? Is this going to move us as an organization forward? And if it's not, then even though that sounds like a great initiative, we might need to put it off over here to the side for now. Maybe it'll have a home somewhere in the future, right? Because I think Sean was talking about this earlier, because it looks good. I'm going to get the banner. I'm going to get the plaque. I'm going to end up on the front page of the newspaper. Mm-hmm. But is it going to move us to where we want to be? And if not, stop wasting your energy on those other things. So there's that clarity piece, right? And then from there, you start to move into capacity, because now if I know where I'm moving, the question is, do we have the capacity to do that? Darrin talked about earlier delegating, right? And so oftentimes we talk about delegating means I'm giving things up. You're not giving things up. You're getting more done, and you're getting better done. Right. But you can't just throw things out. You can't just be like, I'm going to give this to so-and-so. Does that person have the capacity to do that work, right? And as a school leader, I'm going to talk to all of those school leaders out there. As you're giving things to people, you better be ready to take something away. Stop just piling on, because you don't like it when the district does it to you, when our district does it to us. Don't do that to your staff. Don't just keep piling on. Say, what can I take off? Because I need you to do this, because this thing is going to be more aligned and it's going to move us forward, right? It's if you don't have the skills, how can I make sure that I'm building you up? How can I build the leadership in my spaces? Because I don't need to do this alone. I hate it when people talk about leadership is lonely. Leadership is not lonely. And if it is, you're doing it wrong. So how are you building the capacity of yourself and in others to do this work? Because like I said, we oftentimes think we're so burnt out because we're playing that firefighter. We're doing it alone because we think we slap an S on our chest and we wear that cape and it's like, look at me. But it doesn't matter, because your impact cannot outlast that burnout. And if you are burnt out, you are no good for anybody. And I don't just mean your buildings, because this was a hard lesson. And Kafele, you were just talking about your wife being gone. My wife's in the other room waiting on me right now. I gave so much to my space.
Yeah.
There was nothing left to give when I got home.
Yeah.
My girls are grown now. My baby is 21, about to be 22. And I don't know how many years I missed because of that, because I was giving all in that space. So clarity, and when I talk about clarity and capacity, it's not just about in your building. It's about you as a person and setting up those priorities, asking those questions, and building the systems and structures to make sure that you could actually do that work.
That's a lot there. You know, the one of you said a lot, and one of the things that really resonated with me was the ability to stop saying yes, or the ability to say no.
Powerful word.
Yeah, I struggled with that for a long time, and throughout my principalship, but I also struggled with it throughout my now 14 years of being an entrepreneur, being a sole proprietor, speaker, consultant. Right, it's been a struggle, and one of the reasons I left this particular note on the screen is for that reason, and particularly this one. So you want to be a professional speaker or consultant. I was getting, and maybe you get the same, I was getting inboxes from people daily, 7 days a week, people who were looking for tips to become a speaker. Well, you can't give that to people in tips, right? So then I said, well, maybe I should do seminars around the country and make money at the same time. I said, but that's not realistic in terms of answering somebody's immediate question. So there was a time when I had this guilt of not responding to these people that I don't know, that I've never met them before, as far as I know. But every day, I'm getting 5 to 10 people saying, I want to do what you do. I want to be a speaker, and I'm literally responding to all these people with my regular workload. So went on and made these. That's 9 hours of content, that one playlist, to say here, and it's free, right? But I'm saying that not to promote that, although I don't make any money from it. It's just a service. But I'm saying it to say this: I had to figure out a way that I can say no to people and feel okay with myself in doing it, because everybody that asks you, the three of you and me, for advice or on something, we were once in those shoes. We had the same questions. So I said, okay, let me sit right here at this seat I'm sitting right now and talk to this camera for 9 hours, give you everything. So when you call me now and say, can you give me a tip? No, but I can give you 9 hours, but it's up to you if you're going to sit there and watch it for 9 hours, and probably watch it again and again and again if you're trying to do that. So I'm really just trying to connect with you, Charles, on what you said in terms of us being able to figure out ways to say yes to people, and as you said, to empower others around us. So this was my form of empowerment, because it's not like I could have tapped in a bunch of speakers and say, hey, look, take some of these calls for me, so let me make these vids, that and the writing the best-selling book, because that's the other one. Everybody wants to write a book. Like, what do I do? Here you go, 5 hours, right? 5 hours, watch that and then figure it out. Right. So yeah, I'm with you all the way, because I know what that is. I've been saying, some of the things that come through, I do say no. It's just too much. It's only one of us, And there's a lot of things as a sole proprietor I can't delegate. Right? It's like it's me or it's nothing. I'm not gonna call one of you guys and say, could you take this email for me? It's watch the videos. Watch the videos. Enough of that. Let me get off this soapbox. Hey, Sean, and before I ask the question, let me put this on the screen. Let me take that off and make it a little bigger. The Pepper Effect. Subtitle: Tap into the magic of creativity, collaboration, and innovation. The Pepper Effect. Let me read this. According to your bio, in 2014, you founded the hashtag Celebrate Monday movement. Celebrate Monday movement, a culture-changing initiative that has spread across schools nationally, encouraging educators to start the week with positivity and connection. Now, this resonated with me heavily because back in 2008, I created Power Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Power Monday was focused on my young men separately, my young women separately. We had them dressed in their principal's attire, since I was old school with my attire. And we brought in all these folks every Monday, different people to just speak life into them with the key words. See, the inspiration part, the information part, I felt we had that together. But I was concerned about how we empower young people. It's like you think about, we get a youngster ready for graduation. We're doing everything we can get you ready for graduation. So let's pretend graduation's on May 15th, just to use a round number. So May 15th graduation. What I saw, I said, we got kids ready for May 15th. But I was seeing that, but we don't have kids ready for May 16th, right? There was so many kids that did not know how to turn that corner. Even if they were enrolled to go to school, in so many cases in the environment upon which I work, they were going to school because we pushed them into going to school. But we know the number of students who get pushed to go to school wind up on campus and they are home for good by Thanksgiving, right? If not Thanksgiving, then certainly the Christmas holiday. So I said, I got to do something to empower. So when I saw what you were doing with Celebrate Monday, and I thought, and I reflected on Power Monday, I said, there's synergy there.
Yes.
There's synergy there. So in other words, what I'm asking you, give us a synopsis. What is Celebrate Monday, and why does it work? And with that, I'm gonna take myself off camera because someone's at my door, probably the Prime guy, and I'll be right back.
You got it. I appreciate that.
While you're going, I'll hear you.
All right, my man. Celebrate Monday. Anytime that I talk about it, friends, I always have to give credit to Todd Whitaker. And on a rare snow day in North Carolina, I mean, we get 2 flakes of snow down here and the whole state shuts down. I got a copy of this book, in the mail, School Culture Rewired by Todd Whitaker and Steve Grunert. And I'm a big Todd Whitaker fan. And so I will read anything that he puts into print. And there was a sentence here. This is the same book on page 13. If you want to bust a culture, celebrate Mondays. Now, that just blew my mind. That blew my mind on a whole lot of different levels. I was early in my principal career. I was struggling with the negative perception of our school. We were a struggling school dealing with all kinds of issues, all kinds of challenges. And we did not have a hold of our narrative. The kids that I serve, always that I've served, are in situations and circumstances that I could not last 30 seconds in. So I thought, how can we shift that narrative? What's an entry point? As leaders, we're always looking for entry points. So if we say we want to have a growth mindset, sure. Yeah, put all that up, get Carol Dweck, do all those things. But are your people really going to follow you? Are you really shifting the mindset? If you do a book study on mindset, I don't think you will. Nothing against Carol Dweck, nothing against her work. It's a great book. But as a leader, are you really going to do that? You have to find entry points to meet people where they are, with that clarity of your vision, with that clarity of what you say, Principal Kafele, of your core, your purpose, and then you gotta get people there. So I had this epiphany, and I thought, well, my God, why are we so happy and jubilant on Fridays?
Mm.
It's a hard week, it's a tough week, but thinking about the situations where our kids were going home to, why are we celebrating Friday? Why does Monday have to be a day that serves as an excuse to be negative,
Mm.
to be whatever, to be a grouch, or whatever it is? We are serving human beings where, in some cases, school is not the best part of their week or their day. It's the only thing. So I thought, well, let's play with this idea. And so I asked the staff, okay, this is all I need you to do. If you have a Twitter account, an Instagram account, Facebook, whatever it may be, all I want you to do is simply tweet out. This is before X. Just tweet out one good thing that is happening in the course of your Monday in the classroom and in our schoolhouse, and just use the hashtag Celebrate Monday. That's all I want you all to do. We don't need to do a big party. We don't need to do balloons or anything like that. I just want you to find one thing and share it. We'll do a couple of things here. We'll take back the narrative of our school. We're all in this. And then we are just shifting a little bit of our mindset on Monday. Do you know that faculty and staff attendance started going up when we started doing that? Do you know that teachers started taking that hashtag and inculcating that into morning meeting? I didn't ask them to do that. Folks just started taking it and running with it. Do you know that other schools started seeing what we were doing and using that hashtag and having Celebrate Mondays? Do you know that maybe a few years later, one of the astronauts in the International Space Station tweeted out from there, look at Key West, Celebrate Monday? I knew we were on to something when that was happening. And from there, we began to greet not only the kids in a different way, but we began to greet each other in a different way, where we were doing Shibuya roll call, where we were doing different things to capture our kids back and to ignite it. But it just all came down to, y'all, just a reset mindset for the week, a reset mindset for the day. And again, it doesn't have to be Monday. It can be Tuesday. It can be anything. It can be celebrate lunch periods. It can be celebrate morning meeting. However, you're just doing one pivot in the mindset that serves as an entry point for how we relate with our kids and with each other. And again, building that culture of belief, that culture of possibility. So then when I say, hey, look what we're doing with Celebrate Monday. Well, let's look at how we're doing our common formative assessments. Let's look at how we're communicating with parents. You do one shift, man, and that leads to all kind of synergy. And it, as someone here said, it's contagious.
Yeah. Wow, that's good stuff. And once again, I see the synergy with Power Monday, right? It's there's a lot of overlap there.
Right
Before I proceed, let me just say this to the three of you. I know I asked you for those talking points. I could skip my questions. I think that with my questions, we've probably been right into your talking points anyway. So I think we're good there. But we're going to schedule a part 2. We'll do that offline. And so let me keep going, since it's getting like 12:36 Eastern time already. Dr. Peppard, I gotta get something out your book here. Yeah. I'm known to say that the culture of a school is a direct reflection of the leadership of the building. right? That's just something that I've been saying for a long time. I believe it with every fiber of my being, that there's a direct correlation between what it is that how it is that we're living in that building and who's leading that school. So I want to read something from your book right quick. And then I'm on page 27, the first paragraph, where you said any discussion about culture. In fact, let me put the book up here again. For Culture First Classrooms, folks. Leadership, relationships, and practices that transform schools. Darrin Peppard, Katie Kinder. Any discussion about culture begins, in my mind, with leadership. I've stood in front of countless educators over the past handful of years and said, if you want to change the culture in your classroom, school, lunch line, bus, or whatever your workstation might be, then consider changing the way you lead it. Yes, leadership is that important in the development and sustainment of culture. And then you went on and talked about the fact that when you use leader, you're not confining that to the principal, but everybody in that building is a leader within their own right. So with that said, and I hope I didn't just steal your thunder, what are you saying in that paragraph?
What I'm saying there, when I say, if you don't like the culture in your school, lunch line, bus, whatever it is, change the way you lead it. Goes back to that moment in time for me as a school leader when we were all about catching people doing things wrong. And, somebody asking a staff meeting when we're trying to solve the two most important issues in education, right? We're trying to figure out what we were going to do about hats and cell phones. So that meeting, right? Somebody said, Darrin, why is it always got to be about what they do wrong? Why can't it be about what they do right? For me, as a leader in my building, I knew that I couldn't change what other people were going to do. I had to choose consciously to show up a little bit differently. So instead of being out in the hallways trying to catch kids doing things wrong before the school day, maybe I should be at the front door just greeting my kids, greeting my staff, that kind of thing. It's the same thing that Sean is talking about with that mind shift in Celebrate Monday, right? Instead of looking for the negative, how about I look for the positive? And maybe, just maybe, if I show up at the front door, I'm modeling what it is we say we want from our teachers. We want our teachers to greet kids at the classroom door every day, every classroom period. But if as a leader, I'm not doing that, why would they do that? Yeah. Right? To me, it's about, as a leader, it's about setting the expectation, not through the words that you use, but through the actions that you take. And so even just showing up at the front door, what was not this groundbreaking, oh my gosh, nobody's ever thought of that. Lots of leaders do that, but I wasn't doing it. So if I want to change the culture in my school, how about I start leading it a little bit differently? I started to find, and I never asked them to do it, but I had teachers showing up at that front door with me within a few weeks. Hey, I'm going to come out here too. We had 1,500 kids. I didn't know them all by name, but collectively we probably did. And we could talk to them about the different things they were doing. That's just one simple example. Another example I'll say, and this is something that gets overlooked, I think, sometimes in culture, but your focus on instruction, what you expect to see in every classroom every single day, that is a big driver in the culture of your school. Charles talked about, that first day of school, don't create chaos, right? I mean, nothing boosts morale like a well-run school. So if I'm expecting something in a classroom, if I'm expecting my teachers to use high engaging activities, to not just stand and deliver, to not just ask kids to just do rote memorization, then when I'm leading my staff meetings, I need to do the same thing. I need to lead by example. So when I say, if you don't like the culture in your school, change the way you lead it, that's what I mean. Is not through your words, but through your actions. What are you going to do? How are you going to show up? What energy are you going to bring that makes a difference in just that feel of your school. I remember many, many years ago hearing you, Principal Kofele, talk about the difference between culture and climate. And I've always
Yeah.
kept those in my head about the separation, or, well, the marriage of the two, but the
Yeah.
difference between the
Yeah.
two. And I've always felt like how I choose to show up drives both of those things. And that's true with every classroom teacher, with the people who are in our lunch lines, with our paraprofessionals, our instructional coaches, secretaries, you name the role. If they show up the right way, they can be a leader. And so, in a nutshell, that's what I'm saying in that paragraph.
I love it. I appreciate that. And let me just, for the benefit of the fam out there that doesn't know what you heard from my book, Closing the Attitude Gap. When I talk about culture, I'm just talking about the way we're living in that building. Like, what does that look like, right? How are we going about our business? This is going away from the scholarly intellectual language and just saying, how are we living? But then with the climate, that's culture. With the climate, I'm saying, but what is the mood of this place? Like when you walk into the hallway and you walk through the front entrance and like, what do you feel? Right? Then you walk down the hallway. What do you feel? When you walk into the classroom, what is it that you feel? What is the mood of this school? And sometimes that mood could be so overwhelmingly toxic, right? It's like when we meet people, or people that we know, I should say, and we notice that their mood shifted. Like Sean talked about that mindset shifting. So their mood shifted today. They're not what you're accustomed to. Then our natural question would be, what's wrong? Like, what's going on with you right now, right? Because their mood is not what we're accustomed to. So when we walk into a school, there's a mood. We're speakers. When we walk into an auditorium, there's a mood in that room. And sometimes it's so upbeat that it will take us all the way to the conclusion of the presentation, because the mood is so upbeat. So we just ride that thing. But other places, the mood, like you feel the tension in the room, is like, oh God,
Right.
getting ready to work today, right? So and then everything in between. So that's what Darrin is talking about. I appreciate that too. Let me I want to ask you a follow up.
Sure.
Once again, culture first classrooms. The follow-up is the natural question, I think, Dr. Peppard. What is a culture first classroom?
A culture first classroom to me is a classroom that is focused on in giving space and allowing everybody to feel like they're part of something special. It's a classroom that is not driven by classroom management. It's a classroom that is driven by culture. Exactly what you just talked about. How we do things in this room. We've got clear procedures, clear expectations. Everybody knows the feel of the room. And like what you just talked about with the climate, when I walk in the classroom, I feel a different energy in a culture first classroom.
Yep.
I'll tell you very quickly, I'll share this for the listeners and those who are watching. The onus behind writing that book. I'm wearing my Tiger Teacher Nation shirt. I'm an adjunct professor for Fort Hays State University in Kansas, and one of the courses I teach is advanced classroom management, and I teach it 100% as a culture in the classroom course. And after doing that for several semesters, having a conversation with Katie, a whole lot of conversations with Katie, that was the purpose behind that book. Was we can't think about culture in the classroom. We can't think about classroom management as just being rules and how we hold kids accountable and what are the appropriate consequences, and those things happen, right? But when we build culture first, where we know kids' names, where we have relationships, where one of my favorite stories in that book, a young lady, Jackie Millen, a 7th grade math teacher in Illinois, just a simple activity. You said earlier, hey, the toothpaste is out of the tube. She does an activity with that, reminding her kids, once you say the words that come out of your mouth, you can't put them back in. And in her classroom, she uses the phrase toothpaste. She doesn't yell at kids. She doesn't send kids to the office when kids say anything inappropriate. She just says toothpaste. She's built a culture where kids have taken that accountability, and even the kids use that phrase when they hear somebody say something they shouldn't. They just say to the face. So to me, that's what a culture first classroom is.
I love it. I love it. Let's go. Charles, on when I'm preparing for my Saturday Academy, this platform, I look at a lot of things. I don't just look at the books that the folks write. I go to their social media pages. I'm just looking all over the place. And I was on your X page, Charles, and there were some quotes that you have as you with that. It's a black screen, and I think you might be driving or something, and there's music, right? And two of them, you were speaking to me. So I said, those are me. So I said, I want to use these today. So I want to let me go to I got two for you. I took two from the page. First one, you're allowed to outgrow people, places, and parts of yourself. That's not betrayal. That's becoming. Let me read that again for the sake of the fam out there. You're allowed to outgrow people, places, and even parts of yourself. That's not betrayal. That's becoming. That spoke to me. I could do a whole 2 hours when I do my solo sessions on that alone, right? Maybe I will, right? But in the meantime, I'm asking you from looking at that quote in the context of school leadership, principal or assistant principal, what is the meaning of that quote?
So first of all, I was driving. I was actually on my way to New York. My baby girl just graduated from the Culinary Institute of America. I was driving to the airport, so it was bright and early in the morning. So shout out to her. And if you're looking for a chef, go check her out. And I just got to drop this on September 17th. There's this new Netflix special dropping, Next Gen Chef. She's in that, so go ahead and check it out. But anyway,
yeah, I want you to say it again too when we close, so that everybody can get that down.
Absolutely. So these quotes that I'm dropping it's just things that I wish somebody had said to me, because these are like, I'm just trying to be in a space of transparency and vulnerability, and that was something that I struggled with. Right, I think we go through as a school leader, we believe certain things were connected, whether they're practices, like we talked about, whether they're people because they helped us get to where we needed to be, or because they've been in that space, and we feel obligated. So oftentimes we feel obligated to things, whether they are those practices or people or even aspects of ourselves, that when we feel like, man, that no longer serves my purpose. Earlier I talked about that clarity. Right. And if that thing no longer serves my purpose, if it is holding me back, if it is denying me the opportunity to become the person that I want to become, we have the obligation to say, I got to say no to this now. Yeah. And it's hard because we I think so often we live in this society where we value, traditions, we value those things. And so we hang on to them just because, and we're so afraid of giving up. But I've learned that along the way. Like my friend group, right? I was one of those kids in high school. I was that Troy Bolton of high school. I was everything. But as years have gone on, my friend group has dwindled. Yeah. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's to say that we have to recognize that if we want to get to where we are planning to go, sometimes we got to get rid of things. I saw this thing from Steve Harvey that talked about a rocket ship, right? Some of those boosters aren't meant to go the entire journey. They're meant to get you to where you're supposed to be, and then they fall off. And we have to recognize that as we go through our journey, just because the thing that got us to where we are doesn't mean that those things are going to be to get us where we need to be.
That's right.
And so it's okay to say, hey, I'm going to give that part up, right? I'm going to say no to that aspect, especially I think the hardest one is aspects of ourselves, because we've built an identity around something. And when we say, well, what does it mean if I say I'm no longer going to be that person? And that is okay, because the person that you want to be is in this direction. That person who you're holding on to is the one that you used to be.
Yeah, I love it. And just let me highlight just one of them words, places, because on this platform we talk a lot about the fact that the place you're at now may not be your place. See, it may be, but you may be, you have a good paying job, but you may be going there frustrated, discouraged, unhappy every day because that building doesn't have your name on it. Right. It's just, this is the place that employs you right now. So sometimes you got to let go of that place, to use one of your words, that place. And your place might be in a different town. It might be in a different state. Right. It's just a matter, are you willing to travel? But sometimes you got to give up a place so that you can be happy somewhere else. I had to give up the city the city where I was born, the city where I was raised, the city where I did all of my teaching, had done all of my leadership. I had to cut ties and went to another city. In this case, I went from East Orange to Newark. And it's when I got to Newark that I received the Milken Award, right? I wasn't going to get that in East Orange. There's no way in the world. But I got to a point where I said, this is my home. This is the city I wear on my sleeve. But I got to go, right? And I didn't go far. I went across the border to the next city, and that's where my career took off. See, so, and that's why that quote resonated with me so much, because of that well, actually all three: people, places, and parts of yourself. Because I have also, as we all do, some people we gotta. It was nice being your homie for a long time, baby. But I'm going in a different direction from you now. And even, obviously parts of ourselves. I'm not who I used to be, right? Good stuff. But you got another one here that resonated with me. I got to share this one. Growth doesn't always feel like winning. Ooh, that's a big one, man. Growth doesn't always feel like winning. Sometimes it feels like breaking. It feels like stumbling. It feels like starting over again and again, but it's still growth. Woo! That's the one that hit me, right? Growth doesn't always feel like winning. Sometimes it feels like breaking and stumbling and starting over and over again. I want you to answer this from the vantage point of some principal or some assistant principal or some aspiring principal that's on here right now that probably feels broken but would never tell anybody.
Man, like I said earlier, a lot of these quotes, it's because of I'm in this space right now, right? I'm going through something right now, and some people that you've been following me along social media, you've been a part of that journey. Right. And so I think as a school leader, you have to understand, you're going to have those moments. We're so quick. And that's something I don't understand about us. We're so quick to say this to others. Right. We talk about with students, there's that learning there's the struggle that comes along with learning. It's okay. Embrace it. And yet when we're in that space, we don't want to acknowledge it. We don't want to talk about it because so oftentimes it's viewed then as, well, if you're struggling, maybe you're not capable. Maybe you're inept. Maybe you're not as skilled as you thought you were. And I just wish, and I know Darrin and I there was a crazy looking picture of him during a keynote, right? And I was like, what if we just talked about that, right? Because not all of the stuff that we post out there, all the polished end results is what you see behind the scenes. We go through it. And what if we are just being transparent and vulnerable and we normalize the struggle? And I don't just mean for students. I don't just mean for teachers, but us as leaders. What if we woke up and we just say, hey, y'all, I had a hard day today. This is something that I'm going through right now. And so people know that. With my transition, I dropped a whole blog on it. And I just wanted people to know, listen, this is what I'm going through right now. And I was nervous. I was scared. I literally got a phone call this morning from somebody who just said, listen, that was courageous of you, right? To operate in a space that we operate and for you to say the things that you said. And I was I was just trying to be transparent and vulnerable, that not all the time things are great, but you have to be, right? We talk about molds. Sometimes you got to be broken to be molded into that new vessel. You can't just say, I'm going to stay the same, but I'm going to be different. You've got to be broken. And it's scary. It's uncomfortable. You don't know what's going to happen. And I was just talking with Darrin. Darrin had lunch. We had lunch the other day as he passed through Chicago, because I've seen Josh in here, and Josh and I have been talking a lot offline, that I was fighting so hard to stay in the space that I was in, so hard. But once I stopped and I embraced being uncomfortable, I embraced the struggle, I embraced all of those things, guess what? I was allowed to become and grow into the space that I'm going in. And that information is going to be coming soon. I cannot wait. And it has made all the difference. And so I'm sharing these quotes because these aren't just like, little words of wisdom that I just want to throw out there. Like, I'm sharing with you all what I'm going through. And those are words that I wish somebody gave me, but nobody was giving me. So I'm giving them to myself, and in the process sharing with you, because I know I'm not the only one going through that. So if you're struggling, if you're going through, just know that growth isn't always what you see on social media. Growth isn't always polished. It doesn't always feel good. But go through it. Stay true to your values. Stay true to who you are. Stay true to that clarity piece. And man, when you get through the other side, I just 2 months of this. And that I see that light, and so I'm so excited.
Wow. You know, I'm gonna ask my three guests. Allow me to give a very short story, and then we got one more question, and then we'll do our rapid fire and break it up. Because there was a reason that quote resonated with me, Charles. Last week, as I said in my intro, I spoke in the Pocono Mountains, a place called Pocono Manor. Well, what I didn't say in my announcements this morning was that it was right down the street from a place I used to take my family every August, right before school opened, right before administrators returned to work, the 10-monthers. So it was called Caesar's Brookdale. So my family, all 5 of us, every summer we go there. So the last time I went there was 2004, August 2004. I've never been back. So when I went to speak there, I passed it. It's not there anymore, but you know when you've been there, you know where it is, right? So I'm like, oh my God, there's Brookdale, Caesar's Brookdale, and I got this emotion. So I said, all right, you got to focus on this work now. You're getting ready to do this keynote. So then I passed it again when I was leaving, and that emotion hit me again. Now, when I left that place in 2004, that summer, and was driving into Jersey City with my family, I was a broken man from my own principalship because of the relationship I had with the superintendent, right? I was broken. So now the reality that I'm going to work tomorrow, right, after leaving that place, I'm broken. Most people don't know this story. They know the story of some of my issues, but they don't know this part. So those that see this, you get something new. I'm broken. I am broken. So I'm going across this drawbridge into Jersey City, and I'm like, oh God, I got to go there tomorrow. So I went. We had principals meeting. I leave the meeting when it's over. I jump on my cell. I am broken. I call the superintendent, and here's my words. I quit. Now I have 3 children, a wife, mortgage. I got bills. I said, I quit. Goodbye. Boom. That's what I did. Now, I'm sharing this because there's somebody on this call right now, or someone who will see this video later, who you going through your stuff, but you didn't imagine Principal Kafele goes through similar stuff. You think I got it all together. No. I said, I called the boss and said, I didn't even tell my wife I was getting ready to do that. I said, I quit. My $160,000 salary, I quit. My health benefits, I quit. Now, I will tell y'all this. When I realized after the call what I did, I got the job back. but what I'm sharing with you is what broken people do sometimes. I was broken. So my way of getting to the superintendent was saying, you're going to open school without a principal. Not realizing what that was going to do here in this house, because it's the same house, right? So I got it back. Then that other stuff y'all know about. I'm not getting into that now. I got guests on here. We ain't got time. And plus, those of you who are regulars, you already know it, right? But I'm going to tell you this, and particularly Charles, because it's your quote. I ain't reaching up there. If I was going to get my milk and obelisk. If I didn't go through that brokenness, I would not have earned that Milken Award. right? I had to, sometimes you got to go through the thick of the mud to get up there, to get your reward, right? Sometimes you got to go through it. And I went through the depths of the mud, of the grime, in order to get what was rightfully mine. See? So someone out here who's watching, and I'm gonna get back, and you going through it right now, do know you're not alone. If you love Darrin Peppard, if you love Charles Williams, if you love Sean Gaillard, if you love Principal Kafele, don't you think that life was gravy all the way to getting to where we are now? We've all gone through the stuff. The stuff hit the fan. I don't know if everybody's gonna call their boss and say I quit, but that's just the epitome of brokenness. It's okay. Just have a plan, because I had a plan. Just have a plan for what you're going to do next if you're in a bad situation. That's my point here. Have a plan. I always have a plan. I got plans now because we're in a social media age. All I got to do is put a bad tweet up there and ain't nobody going to be calling me to come speak no more, right? So you know, I always got a plan, right? So you know, lady wrote the other day, last week, she said, I can't believe public schools pay you for your strong political views. I said, I don't have strong political views that I pose. That was lightweight, right? So you know, but my point is, people can destroy you. Do you have a plan? A plan B, C, D, etc. You know. So let me get off of this, because I keep looking at Sean. And the only thing I keep thinking in what I'm saying right now, Sean is going to understand. As a matter of fact, y'all know Sean. So I'm talking to y'all in my mind. Every time I look at Sean, because I keep looking at him, my mind is saying, John Lennon, baby. John Lennon. John Lennon, baby. I'm right on the right page.
That's right. Come together. Come together. Come together.
Yeah, that's right. So that takes me right to you, Sean. Last question. And then we're gonna do a part two.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, as a lifelong Beatles fan, and let me get the book. I was intrigued. A lot of my guests, you know, I read parts of the book, but this thing, I said to myself, I gotta read this whole book, right? I have to read this because you got some stuff in here, right? And I said, I gotta read all of this. But after going through the chapters, like I told you off camera, I started playing Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club band.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm playing it. And I said, all right, I got to listen to some come together now. So I must have played that like 20 times yesterday. I just kept letting it play. So you developed this Pepper effect, which is coming from Sgt. Pepper Lonely Heart Club Band.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us. And the book is called The Pepper Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, give us the overview. What is the Pepper Effect?
So music is the universal language. Music is the divine language. Music is God's voice. And I very much live in that world of music. It is a retreat. It is the Band-Aid. It's the soul Band-Aid that I wear proudly for the brokenness that I carry, and I really appreciate where y'all went in that last segment there about brokenness and vulnerability, and
as you speak about that, talk to Lysandra Brackens for me. She said, thanks for sharing, Principal. I drive to work feeling broken.
Oh man, yeah. Let me tell you. Okay, Brackens, listen, hear me out. Okay, hear us all out. Okay, is that brokenness will pass. Okay, and you're talking to somebody here who about a year and a half ago, and I've shared this and started being public with this, you know, where EMTs had to come and get me at school.
Mm.
I passed out. I had a heart episode.
Mm.
Okay. And that was years and years of neglect. That was years and years of putting school first and putting my faith and my family second. And then a part of that, putting myself last, and not taking care of myself. So you got to know that where you are there for a reason. And there are people that are looking to you and need you. Okay. Do not let the toxicity define you. Do not let the negativity define you. Do not let those, because they're just moments. And I know that's easier said than done, but you're talking, this is somebody here who's been there, who was in the hospital. Okay. Because they had to lock down the whole school. They had to put the whole school on hold. And because I passed out in the office, I thought I was going to die. Oh. And when you're sitting in that hospital room, okay, my wife was in tears, and my oldest daughter, who is in law school, was taken over the scene. And that was really the wake up call that I needed. Like, wait a minute, I'm her father. Why is she taking care of me? I'm 54 years old. Wait a minute, it just should be the other way around. Okay.
You had your heart attack at 54.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I had mine, 54.
Oh, man. Something about that age, my friend.
Yeah. And
all of those things that I had written about in the Pepper effect, things that I'd been awarded for and recognized for, all that's underscored in belief. Believe in your vision, believe in your masterpiece, believe in your collaborators, and ignore the naysayers. That's the Pepper effect. But I wasn't living that out, y'all. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that at all. I wasn't believing in myself. I wasn't believing in my vision. I wasn't believing in the people that I had nurtured and I had around me. I was listening to the naysayers, and I was believing the naysayers and believing those folks that said that I can't. Now, think about the Beatles and think about the fact that if they stopped believing, right? If, the British press, when they were making Sgt. Pepper's, was saying all these things about the band, like they can't, how could you, think if they had listened to those naysayers. Think about my man Marvin Gaye when he was making the What's Going On album. Berry Gordy was saying, wait a minute, we don't do protest music. Wait a minute, that's not Motown. Right. What if Motown, what if Marvin Gaye had listened to that? What if Dr. King, right? When he was spending that night in Birmingham jail, what if he did not write that letter, right? And said, all right, you know what? I'm just going to go back and be a minister in my little church here in Ebenezer, and I will toe the line. What if my father believed in Jim Crow and segregation and all of those things, right? All of those things. So the Pepper effect, Principal Kafele, the principle of the Pepper effect, Ms. Bracken, or Dr. Bracken, I'm not sure of your title, is it all comes down to belief. If you don't believe in what you're doing and in the value that you have and in the value that you bring, the masterpiece that awaits your hand on the blank canvas, that is the community and the people you serve, will not happen. That's what it all comes down to. Belief, 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 belief. We have to normalize this, y'all. I go to a therapist, right? I go to a therapist for panic and anxiety and depression. Me, a North Carolina principal finalist, principal of the year finalist. Me, an author. Me who has done this for 33 years. We have to put those things in that, and we have to acknowledge the brokenness, but we cannot let the brokenness define us. We cannot let the brokenness be our compass. That's the Pepper effect, y'all.
I love it, y'all. Hey, y'all, the Pepper effect. You can go to Amazon right now, get yourself a copy. Go to one of your other tabs, get yourself a copy. Sean Gaillard. Did I say it right? Okay. Yeah,
Gaillard. You got it.
Gaillard. Yeah. See, I had something else in my head all week. So yeah. So get yourself a copy, y'all. Let's go to our rapid fire questions and close it out. These are real quick, one sentence or even one word. But once you feel yourself inserting a comma, it's too long, right? So just real quick, we'll break it up into 7, 7, and 7. The very last question I give everybody. Dr. Peppard, do you feel that education is currently on the right path for underserved children?
Yes, but we have to be willing to always look at where we are and not stand pat.
Does Darrin Peppard's work, does Dr. Darrin Peppard's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if we're not pouring into leaders, then we're not going to get where we want to be.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
Wouldn't change it at all.
Why do you continue to do this work?
Man, I'm so passionate about leadership. I'm passionate about leaders. If somebody poured into me, I just simply want to pay it forward.
What fires you up, particularly within the work that you do?
Much like as a teacher, when we see that light bulb, that, man, I got it.
Yeah.
When I hear leaders tell me, man, check this out. I got this. Look at how this worked out. That's what fires me up.
What do you dislike about the work you do?
Sometimes the travel gets a little long.
Oh, does it? Charles, do you feel that true equity can occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
Can it? Yes. Will it? Man, I hope so.
What has been your greatest victory in the work you do?
Man, just letting people know what they can accomplish and seeing them become the versions of themselves that they wanted to be.
What was your greatest mistake in the work you do?
Thinking that I could do it all alone.
Are you proud of your first year as assistant principal?
Yes and no, right?
Yeah.
So many mistakes,
for the reasons,
but those are shaped who I am today.
Are you proud of your first year as a principal?
Same answer.
Yeah.
So many mistakes, but glad I went through it.
Who inspires you in your work?
Man, so many. All of you all here, I have a massive network, but it goes back to my grandparents. They really were my foundation. My grandmother for her love of education and what it could mean, and my grandfather with that work ethic.
What book would you recommend for our fam out there this afternoon?
There's this book that I heard about like, am I a value to the people that I lead instructionally? I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, that's a dynamite book, man. Somebody need to go.
Sure is.
Oh, look at y'all, man. Y'all.
Oh, look. You guys have heard of it.
We have heard of it. Yeah, it's okay.
You're blessing me. Oh, where we at? Sean, what do you want to accomplish that you have not accomplished yet?
Wow. What do I want to accomplish that I have not accomplished yet? I tell you, there's so much that I want to do, but I would love to see one of my former students teach.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that one day.
That's a good one. Are you satisfied with where you are professionally?
You know, I am at peace with where I am professionally. I'm never satisfied because I'm always pushing and I'm always looking to grow and I'm always looking to embrace the next challenge.
Love it. Is there another year? No, change that. Scratch that. Is there another gear to your leadership, or are you at peak performance now?
Oh, there's always another gear because there's always another challenge. Got to be ready for it and anticipate.
What would you say to an AP out there who continues to face closed doors to the principalship?
Oh, wow. The future will come to you. I say that often. The future will come to you. Don't go to the future. The future will come to you.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership passion?
Well, kind of like what I said a few minutes ago. You know, you are there for a reason, and somebody put you there for a reason, and you will always find your groove. There is always a groove to be found, and it may happen when you least expect it.
There you go. One more, two more. What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership confidence?
Oh man, you got to believe in yourself. You've got to find that belief. Find those small wins and celebrate them.
Very good. Last one. This is for all three of you. I'll start with you. Start with Darrin. If Dr. Darrin Peppard was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Why you got to start with me? Wow. Servant.
Servant. If Charles Williams was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Sugar-free.
And if Sean Gaillard was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Empathy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We brought it to a close. To the fam out there, those of you who are regulars, you already know. You know how we applaud our guests. Give us those favorite emojis and keep them coming. Those of you who are new to us, you just heard it. The way we applaud our guests, we just give them our favorite emojis. And since we can't verbalize it, just give us your favorite emojis, and we'll see it in the thread. They won't. I don't think they'll see all four platforms, but I do. And so Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Give us those favorite emojis of yours. Keep them coming. And I'm gonna get mine. Mine is in the form of just a big Louisville slugger that I got from Jefferson County in Louisville. Right. So you guys hit it out the park, man. Grand slam every time you came to bat. You were what the Yankees needed the other night. We'll see what happens today. Although I'm a Mets fan, but New York is New York. But keep them coming, keep them coming. Hey, Dr. Peppard, how did they get your book? How do they book you? How do they everything you do? How did they get in touch with you? Even follow you on social media? Give us all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Social media, everything. I am at Darrin M. Peppard. So literally every platform, that's where you find me. And everything as far as getting in touch with me, the books, all that kind of stuff, roadtoawesome.net.
Good stuff. Charles Williams, same thing. And let us know about your daughter as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with her. I put them on the back burner long enough on this journey. So I just shout out to you, baby girl, Sierra. If you're watching this, know how proud I am. So on September 17th, Next Gen Chef. It was filmed at the Culinary Institute of America cooking competition. And so she was paired up with one of the individuals. I can't say all the things she told me. She's like, Dad, I'm going to tell you stuff. You can't say it yet, but just watch it. You will see her. So if you see an adorable chef who looks just like me, because that's where she got her good looks from, go ahead and check it out. And if you're hiring, hit her up. She is looking for that next job. But I will say, follow me on my socials @_CW Consulting. It's right there. So you can follow me across all the platforms, same exact socials. And if you want to get in touch, feel free to do so. CWConsultingService.com, or follow me on the socials, send me a DM, hit me up, and we could definitely do some beautiful work together. I just want to say, Kafele, thank you for this space. Darrin, Sean, thank you for being on here with me. I cannot imagine a better place to spend my Saturday morning.
Oh man, appreciate you. Sean, same thing.
You can find me at SM Gaillard here in the profile here on X and on Instagram. Sean Gaillard on Facebook and LinkedIn, or if you follow hashtag Principal Liner Notes or hashtag Leadership Riffs. Always looking for bandmates and ways to connect and learn and grow. And I think we may have just formed a new band here, gentlemen. I'm going to call it Earth, Wind, Fire, and Kafele.
I appreciate you. So y'all, you reach out. They're all presenters. They're all professional developers. In addition to keynoters and all that other good stuff, and authors, obviously. So check them out. And I just want to thank you, the three of you, before we close out, for this opportunity to just spend a little time with you. Great session. And I know that folks are going to benefit from it. Let me do my final announcement. Stay on, fellas, until and then we'll talk offline real quick. Hey, folks, to the fam out there, appreciate you being here, especially those of you who have been with us since the beginning at 10:55, hanging in there this long. Appreciate you. Join me next week, 279 consecutively. Dr. Marcus Jackson is doing the residency every last Saturday of the month. So next week is the last Saturday of August. So he'll be with me another Dr. J Saturday. So join me. I forget what we're going to talk about, but we'll be talking about something from his book, right? So join me next Saturday at 10:55. Don't forget, every Saturday, 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt, school turnaround principal, 10:55, Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor. That's at 10:30, and then 10:55 us, and then PGP podcast, Josh Tovar, Dr. Madi Moreno, Sunday 5 o'clock Eastern. I got the old notes in front of me, 5 o'clock Eastern. If you don't have your copy, get your copy today along with the other books that we had today. So we got The Pepper Effect, we got Sustainable Leadership, Charles Williams, and we got Classroom, Culture First Classroom. So, and then while you're there, get this. And I might say, I haven't done this in a very long time, but I'm gonna do it today and get all these, right? So get them all, right? So they're all on Amazon, right? Get them all. And because some of y'all think I just got the one book, The Newbies, but I got 14, right? And this is just the newest one. So get yourself a copy. And then subscribe to the AP New Principals Academy YouTube channel. We are 24,400 subscribers and growing. I'm looking forward to hitting 25,000. That's like a landmark. I mean, what's that? That's not the word I was looking for. That's a milestone. And so make sure that you get that you subscribe to it and then hit the notification bell so you're notified when I go live, which is every Saturday at 10:55. Visit principalcafele.com for additional resources. And then finally, your diet, your exercise, your virus precautions. There's stuff out here. I didn't know that Sean had a heart attack, and I don't know if you knew I had one, but mine was with a microphone in my hand at the University of Miami on May 1st, 2015. I finished the speech because I didn't know what I was dealing with. And then after that, I realized that I was in bad shape, and they rushed me to the hospital and pleaded with me to keep fighting because I was losing it and losing strength to continue on. And they got the stent in the artery, main artery clogged 100%. So that was all diet related, lack of exercise, all that kind of stuff. And type 2 diabetes came with it. And here I am doing all the things, 90% of the things the doctor told me to do. So, so here we are, right? So same age 54. So I'm 10 years in and haven't had a chest pain yet. Every time I go to the doctor, have you any chest pains? Not yet. Knock on wood, though. But yeah, so take care of yourselves, folks. Eat right, live right, exercise right. Because like most of us who have a heart attack, we never anticipated it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things that happen. So, because you were feeling good yesterday, it can still come tomorrow. In fact, because you're feeling good right now at 125, it can come at 130, right? That's just how it works, right? So make sure that you are taking care of you. Other than that, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist all the way back. 1, 2, 3. Bam. I'll see y'all next Saturday.